Hi, travel diners. So today we have with us Shroff, who is one of India's or the most topmost flair bartender in India, and she's one of the first women to have reached that level of sort of what would you say, fame and competency, and literally a lot of people want her to come and consult with them to guest bartend at their really fancy places. So she's achieved a lot in her career, and we have her here today to tell us how and what it's all about. So hi Ami, welcome to TravelDine.
And thanks for the awesome intro also. Awesome.
It's great to have you here. So I just wanted to straight away get into, you, how does it feel to have kind of stormed the bastions of one of the most, what you'd say is a male-dominated profession? So what were the challenges like also?
So I suppose there's just generally there's sexism in so many spaces you don't even realize it, or it's not just specific to the profession, but just in how it's there in our environment in general. Then it affects your profession, it affects our personal lives, it affects it in multiple ways. The fact that if it's a male dominated space, you don't realize how different that feels until you start working with in a space which has more of a balanced employee balanced gender, or within all the employees. And it's only when you start working with more women you realize how comfortable it actually is, and how there are certain hang-ups which exist when it's only men that you are working with, or preconceived notions, stereotypes that might exist, them thinking sometimes you get preferential treatment, or if your achievements end up being because you're a woman, whereas sometimes maybe the difficulties are not, they don't recognize it to be gender biases that exist, and the difficulties that come with that, rather the privileges that come get noticed very easily within employees, sometimes within a team, even situations of colleagues interacting with each other, then getting instructions or orders from a senior member who might be a woman might be trickier, or there's more ego in play that gets involved. So there are many such subtle examples that one can say how sexism can exist within the industry or within any industry. It kind of really depends on your team, whom you're working with, and as a freelancer, I'm sometimes just interacting with them for a day or a few days. So it's very brief, it's very short. I might not even encounter or realize the levels of it. But when you work at a place longer, then you start recognizing many things. And
So what would you say, if you think back, what's the most sexist thing you've heard, from a colleague or from someone you worked with, a senior?
I don't know about the most, if I have to give a whole comparison, but I think one of the examples, I guess you've already always put in a spotlight of sorts, but not there's a sexist thing that you say, or maybe, okay, let's think, once I think someone was like, oh, you get a drop back. So women who travel late at night, I think certain outlets and hotels and spaces provide a drop back facility where they drop them back home. And it's not so much of a privilege, rather that because of the issues of it not being safe, I'll rather travel myself and have a safe space and be able to travel anyhow I want, at any hour I wish, rather than getting that privilege. So how that was put across as a privilege by one. So that kind of a comment. Now I don't know the exact words, but it was something on those lines. Yeah. So an example. Yeah.
So how do you deal with this? What's been your, say, success mantra to get over all of this and just focus on the job?
I guess, just that's the answer. I think just focus on the job. That's how you deal with it. Don't sort of, these are obstacles in a sense, you would be able to function and work so much more efficiently and freely if, you have good teamwork, and these unnecessary obstacles or gender biases and all these little things won't exist. It would be better. But if they do exist, and you try your best, and in each situation it differs as to what you have to do to tackle with it. Either you just ignore it if at all it's not so important, and if it's important you have to address it, and especially if it's a colleague or if it's a guest. It could be any situation where this can be kind of faced. And I think each situation you deal with it differently. As much as possible, as little energy, I suppose. But it does take a little energy away, for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't think about all this before you got into it. So how did you actually think of getting into mixology or bartending?
So in fact, I didn't think about all this, and I didn't even realize it while I was in it for a while. Like it takes time. I think it's the conversations about feminism and stuff has only been started, like become a conversation, I think, in the last few years or a decade or so, where I'm seeing it a lot more thanks to the internet, and in many spaces where it's now becoming it's getting a little better. And so initially I think I didn't even recognize how it was there. I thought it was all okay, and there isn't like so much of a gender bias or sexism or whatever it is, even in the start of the profession. And I just did my thing. I kind of like just went with it. I learned from multiple different people also at the same time, and I learned through my own experiences. I learned a lot through the internet, and I just got distracted easily. I didn't get so bothered by the little issues, or I thought this is something everyone experiences. I thought this is how hospitality might be, or how even the hierarchy system in hospitality is. So in the beginning, I was a beginner, so I'm still figuring things out. But once you kind of have a little hold over, you know what you're doing, you're more confident, then we start dealing with these things a lot differently. First, I think we just ignore it, and then we start actually addressing it, and it stops happening after we do that, I suppose. Yeah.
So is that the advice that you would give to, say, a newcomer who's wanting to follow in your footsteps?
I think each one will have their own journey, so just explore it in their own way. But yeah, for sure, like that, it's great to be like get that confidence as early as possible. And even if you're a beginner and you're figuring things out and you're making mistakes, it's fine to be doing that and still exploring and continuing that, and learning along the way and getting better automatically, because you'll keep doing something and you're doing it with focus and with good energy, like you'll get better at it also. And so that's the same advice, that just keep doing it, no matter what. Don't stop, I suppose, like unless they wish to stop, they genuinely wish to stop this and they want to do something else, like just do what's calling out, I suppose. But that's easier said than done. Sometimes just to figure out what's our calling is another thing, and that keeps changing also. Yeah.
Also, is there something that, tell us something that we don't know about your industry? Maybe something that's a secret or not spoken about?
Oh, so I can't tell you that then. No,
or you'll have to tell me.
Everyone watching, right? I got nothing's popping at right away, like a secret of the industry as such. But I think everyone might have their own little trade secrets, or the way they work, or secrets in the sense of, say, a secret recipe, or what other secrets could be there. Maybe I haven't discovered them yet. Like I've just been bouncing around too long as a freelancer, and I haven't found out anyone's secrets yet, like the trade secrets of the bars. So,
Okay, tell me, as a woman, I mean, now this is going the other direction. What do you think a woman brings to the bar, literally, that is more special than, say, a male bartender would?
I think again, like it's which person brings what to the bar, because like each person will bring their own personality, will bring their own skills, will bring their own something special to the bar. But when there is when you go to a space which is more balanced gender-wise, like there are enough men, women, it's inclusive, that the people, they're trans people, they're intersex people as well. That kind of a vibe that an inclusive space brings is awesome. So I know that women bring that vibe, at least, to a place. We just make a place safer automatically. I go to a place, or even if I'm walking down the street and I'm seeing a woman on the street, I just feel more safe than, say, if I'm walking down the street and I just see a man approaching. And that's just how sadly it's been with the genders. But I think that's the most special thing that we bring, is safety. we bring a sense of comfort and safety. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, would you like to show us some of what you do? Just the
yeah.
glimpse. Yeah.
The contact ball juggling. So that this is a part of the juggling arts. I learned this a few years after I got into bartending and in Goa again. And it involves juggling an object while maintaining contact with it. So I do it with a ball like this, which is an acrylic ball, and it's crystal clear acrylic. So you can't really tell how it's moving, and it creates these different illusions. While I practice with a silicone ball like that. Which any moves I'm trying something for the first time, I'll do it with this. Once I get comfortable, I eventually perform it with this. So I'll play a song and I'll just show you some of this. Moves. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit of contact ball juggling. It's like about balancing it at different points of the body and taking it from one point to another point and connecting it, or keeping the ball in the same spot and your hand kind of moves around it and creates these different illusions because of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. So it's like your creativity personified in a way. Yeah. Super.
I mean, but also helped contact ball juggling because there's a level of hand-eye coordination and dexterity required for flair and to control objects we find in the bar. And similarly, like with the ball, with many of the juggling arts, there's a level of dexterity and practice required. So yeah, it's all kind of connected to one another. One prop helps the other. Yeah.
Very good. Thanks so much. Thank you,
Yeah.
Abby. Yeah. Great.
Happy to be here. Thank you.